Hi everybody, my name is Pam. Welcome to my channel, for goodness keepsakes. Today is part 2 of a 3-part video series showing you how to make this set. Today's video is going to be for the bonnet. I fondly call this set Autumn's Chevron Newborn Set because Autumn is the baby I was pregnant with when I designed the original concept for these patterns. And if you'd like to purchase these patterns, all these patterns for the bonnet, the dress, and the booties are all part of one pattern for sale in my Etsy shop, and the link is in the description box below. Down below, you'll also find the links to the other parts of the pattern for the dress that goes with this bonnet and the booties as well. But today's video is part 2, which is going to be to show you how to make this really cute little chevron bonnet. This is newborn sized, and I only show the newborn size. I apologize if you want a bigger size. And so the pattern is going to include the bonnet as well as how to make this really cute little flower that you can sew on, and I'll show you how to do that too. So let's get started making this really cute bonnet. If you've seen the dress video already, you already know that I'm probably going to be using these colors because these are the colors I used last time. So you're going to need 2 different colors. You could use more if you want, but the pattern calls for 2. In worsted weight yarn, I like to use acrylic because, like I said in the other video, acrylic is generally hypoallergenic, which is good for babies, and it's very cheap and affordable. So I've got 2 colors here, and I have a 5mm H hook. I like using this Clover or More hook. Just, I mean, it works really well. It's one of my favorite hooks now. So pick whichever color you want to be color A and whichever color you want to be color B. Understand that this pattern has a flower on it, and if you want the flower to match your trim, pick whichever color you want to be your flower and make that your color B. So for me, I'm going to be using brown for color A and blue for color B. Now this is actually different than what I did for the dress for these colors, because for these colors, the dress, I made blue color A and brown color B. But for the hat, I'm going to make brown color A and blue color B. So just, you know, pick which colors you want to be which and label them accordingly. So I'm going to start with brown, and my H hook, I'm going to make a slip knot and start with chain 3. Let me move you a little closer to me. There we go. Now we are going to put 9 double crochet into the 3rd chain from the hook. If you prefer, you could opt to do a magic ring instead. I just do the double crochet into the 3rd chain. So I'm going to double crochet 9 times. This is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. I worked over the tail so that if there is a gap produced, see how there's a gap there? You can just pull the tail and it cinches it shut, and then I'll show you how to tie that tail so that it doesn't come undone. It's not going to unravel, but crocheting over the tail allows you to cinch that center tighter, and then you can tie it so it doesn't come loose. Anyway, so with our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 double crochets, we're going to join to the top of our chain 3, and that's going to give us 10 stitches around. For row 2, we're going to start with a chain 2. That's going to count as our first double crochet from basically here on out. And we're going to do 2 double crochet 9 times, starting in the next stitch. So 2 double crochets into the next stitch. 1, 2, there's 1. And just do this around till you get back to where you started. 1, 2 is 2. 1, whoops, I lost my loop. I got all excited. I went too fast for myself. 2 is 3. 1, 2 makes 4, not mathematically speaking. And 2, there's 5. 1, 2, there's 6. 1, 2, there's 7. 1, 2, there's 8. 1 and 2 makes 9. So we've done 2 double crochet in the 9 stitches, and you'll see we're back to where this chain 2 goes into this stitch here, And so we're actually going to put a double crochet into that stitch. And we're going to join to the top of our chain 2, which will give us 20 stitches around. Now for row 3, we're going to chain 2, and we're going to put 5 double crochet into the next stitch. So all into this next stitch here, we're going to put 5 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then into the next stitch, we're going to put 1 double crochet. Then we're going to skip 1 stitch, and going into the next stitch, we're going to put 1 double crochet. Into the next stitch right here, we're going to put 5 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Into the next stitch, we're going to put 1 double crochet. Then we're going to skip 1 and repeat this again. So 1 double crochet. You can see we skipped a stitch and worked a 1 into there. Into the next stitch, 5 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Into the next stitch, 1 double crochet. Remember, if I go too fast or too slow for you, you can adjust the playback speed settings too. And then skip 1 stitch, and going into the next stitch, we're going to repeat this again. So 1 double crochet in that stitch, 5 double crochet in the next stitch. I bet I sound hilarious at slow playback speeds. 4 and 5. And then 1 double crochet into the next stitch. Skip 1 and repeat this again one more time. 1 double crochet into this stitch, 5 double crochet into the next stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 double crochet into the next stitch. And you'll see we've got, that's the one we skip, and here's where we join to. This goes into this space here. Here's our chain 2. We're going to join to the top of our chain 2. That's the end of row 3. At the end of row 3, you should have 35 stitches. Now we're going to slip stitch over 1 stitch. So you can see we joined here. So here's our next stitch. We're just going to slip stitch over right there. So slip stitch over 1, chain 2, which counts as our first double crochet. We're going to double crochet in the next stitch. And then into this next stitch, we're going to put 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets, all into that same stitch. So there's the 2 double crochets, chain 1, and then 2 more double crochets into that same stitch. Next, we're going to double crochet 2 times. So go in the next stitch, double crochet, and into the next stitch and double crochet. Next, we're going to skip 2 stitches, and we're going to start a repeating pattern. So skip these 2, and into this third, we're going to double crochet 2 times. There's the first one, and then again into the next stitch. Now into this next stitch, we're going to do our peak again. That's 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets, all into that same stitch. So there's 2, chain 1, 2 more double crochets. And then we're going to double crochet 2 times, 1 in each of the next 2 stitches. 1, 2, skip 2 stitches and start again. So going into that third, we're going to put a double crochet. We're going to double crochet 2 times. So there's our 2 double crochets. Into the peak, 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets. And the next 2. And then in each of the next 2 stitches, put a double crochet. So 1 in each of those 2 stitches, double crochet, skip 2, repeat, double crochet 2 times, 1, 2, then all into the same stitch, 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets. So here's the first 2, and then a chain 1, and then 2 more double crochets, all in that same stitch. And then double crochet 2 times again. Now one more time, we're going to skip those 2 stitches, and starting in the 3rd stitch, we're going to double crochet 2 times. Into this top, we're going to make our peak. That is 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets. And then double crochet 2 times. A lot of noisy cars out there right now. You're going to skip these last 2 stitches and you're going to join to the top of your chain 2. Right there. And that completes row 4. After row 4 is done, you should have 45 stitches. Now, just like before, we're going to slip stitch over 1 stitch to start row 5. So slip stitch over once and chain 2. The chain 2 counts as your first double crochet. And then the pattern tells you double crochet 2 together. So not this stitch, because this is where your chain 2 goes into. The next 2 stitches, we're going to double crochet this one and this one together. And then we're going to work a peak of double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. So going into this chain 1 space here, we're going to double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Now here's where you have to be kind of careful, because when you work into the peak, and it's only for this row because this row is not where you turn, this stitch here likes to get kind of slightly buried under there, so be careful. Make sure you work into the space for this double crochet. It can get a little bit buried under these stitches. And we're going to now double crochet 3 times. So starting in that next stitch, double crochet. There's 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to skip 2 stitches and double crochet 3 times. 1, 2, 3. We're going to work our peak. So going into this chain 1 space, we're going to double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Now see how that gap for that stitch is a little bit buried, so be careful you don't miss that stitch. We're going to double crochet 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Skip 2 stitches and repeat. 3 double crochets up to the peak. 1, 2, 3. Double crochet, chain 1, double crochet all into that chain 1 space. And then working in this first stitch here, don't skip it by accident. Do 3 double crochets, heading back down the other side of the chevron. We're going to repeat this again. Skip 2 stitches, going into the 3rd stitch. We're going to do our 3 double crochets back up to the peak. Our double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into that chain 1 space there. So double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Now we're going to work our 3 double crochets heading back down the other side. 1, 2, 3. And now we're going to be working on our last peak here. On the last peak, same kind of thing. You're going to skip 2 stitches. You're going to start with 3 double crochets heading back up to the peak. 1, 2, 3. You're going to double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into the peak to form a new peak. So into that chain 1 space from the previous row, work all those stitches. But now when you're ending this row, it says to double crochet in the next stitch and then double crochet the next 2 stitches together. So double crochet 2 together. Just like that. This is the end of this row. We do not join here. At the end of this row, you should have now 43 stitches instead of 45. So you lost 2 because there's the 2 that you skipped down here. So now you have 43 going from this end around to this end. So now what we're going to do is chain 2 and turn. So chain 2 and turn. Now rows 6, 7, 8, and 9 are all going to be the same. So you do your chain 2, turn. you're going to double crochet 2 together. Now understand, like I had said, the chain 2 counts as your first double crochet. So this stitch here, this very first stitch, goes to this chain 2. So you're starting in the next stitch. So we're going to double crochet 2 together. 1, 2, and then we're going to start our peak. So into this chain 1 space, we're going to double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, all into that same space. Now because you turned your work, you don't have to worry about your stitch being buried, because now they're leaning the other way. So your next stitch is right there, and you're going to double crochet 3 times. So 1, 2, 3. Now you're going to skip 2 stitches and do 3 double crochets back up to the peak. So this is the one you just worked into. Skip 1, 2, and start in the third. And do 3 double crochets back up to the peak. This is the start of your repeat. So 1, 2, and 3, making sure you get that last one right there. And then going into the chain 1 space, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, all into that chain 1 space. Now we're doing our 3 double crochets back down the other side. 1, 2, 3. Skip 2 stitches, and starting in the third stitch, do your 3 double crochets back up to the peak. And you're going to keep following this repeating pattern. So 3 going back up. Into the peak, that chain 1 space, we're going to do double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Creates a new peak. And then we're going to do 3 double crochet down the other side. 1, 2, 3. Skip 2 stitches and repeat. 3 double crochet up to the top. 1, 2, 3. Put double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into the peak. And then 3 double crochet down the other side. 1, 2, 3. Now when you're getting to your last peak, it's going to start the same. You'll notice this is where it ends, is this peak. So it's going to start the same. You're going to skip 2 stitches and do 3 double crochets up to the peak. Here comes the baby. What baby? I better see what she wants before she knocks my door down. Okay, so you're going to do your 3 back up to the top, and then into your peak, just like before, your double crochet, chain 1, double crochet to make your peak. But then when you're ending the other side, you're going to end with a double crochet and then double crochet 2 together. So into the next stitch, double crochet, and then use these last 2 stitches, that is this double crochet here and this chain 2, and double crochet 2 together. Whoop. Chain 2 and turn. That was row 6. We're now doing row 7. So we're just going to be doing the same exact thing for row 7, row 8, and row 9 as well. So we're going to we're going to skip this first stitch because this chain 2 counts as the first one. We're going to double crochet 2 together. So 1, 2, whoop, and then into the peak, do our peak, which is a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and then work our repeating pattern all the way to the other side until we get to the other end. So 3 double crochet going down to the valley. 1, 2, 3. Skip 2, going into the third, start our 3 double crochet going back up to the peak. Into the peak, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. And then our 3 double crochet down. Skip 2 and start our 3 back up to the top. 1, 2, 3. And then into the peak, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and then do our 3 double crochets heading back down to the valley. Not too bad, right? Once you get to this part, it's kind of almost mindless. Alright, so the 3 going back up, the double crochet, chain 1, double crochet in the peak, and then the 3 heading back down the other side. 1, 2, 3. Skip 2, start your 3 back up to the top, but now we're working on the last peak. So when we get to the other side of this mountain here, that's when we will do a double crochet and then double crochet 2 together. So here's our 3 going to the top. Let's do our peak, which is double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. And then we're going to do a double crochet and then double crochet 2 together. So double crochet and then double crochet 2 together. 1 and 2. Ta-da! Chain 2, turn. And again, this counts as our first stitch, so double crochet the next 2 stitches together. Work our peak, so double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and then start our repeating pattern. So we've got our 3 going down, 1, 2, 3, skip 2, doing 3 back, going up, back up to the peak. I'm getting really distracted by the baby. And then our peak, which is the double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and our 3 going back down. And again, you should be, every time you finish a row, you should still have 43 stitches. It shouldn't change. So skip 2, and starting in the 3rd, go back up to the top. Alright, so we did our peak, and now we're doing 3 going back down the other side. This is where I tend to mess up, because I have a tendency to accidentally count this gap as the one of the spaces I need to skip, but it's not. That's the gap that this stitch goes into. So you're skipping that one, and starting into the 3rd. So that's the one you just worked. These 2 are the ones you skip, and that's the one you work into. And I don't know why that messes me up a lot, but usually if I mess up with chevron, it's in the valleys. It's always the valleys. So double crochet, chain 1, double crochet for each peak, and then 3 double crochets going up and down each side, skipping 2 in the valleys. We're going to do our 3 double crochets going back up to the peak. We're on the last chevron, I think, right? Yeah, we're on the last chevron. So here's our 3 going back up to the peak. And then we're going to put a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into the peak. And then we're going to do a double crochet and double crochet 2 together, working that last double crochet and going into this chain 2 from the previous row. Ta-da! Now that was row 8, so we're going to do one more row of this. So chain 2, turn, one more row of this before we change colors. Skip that first stitch and double crochet 2 together. So 1 and 2. Then do your peak. So double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and then double crochet 3 times going down the side. And we're going to start our repeating pattern. So skip 2 stitches, go 3 double crochets back up to the top. Do the double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into the previous row's chain 1 space, and then 3 double crochets going down the other side. Copy, paste, repeat. Skip 2, 3 going back up to the top. You are going to be a master of chevron when you're done making this baby set. So do our peak. And then the 3 going back down. What's nice is once you kind of get into a groove of it, you can actually do this pretty mindlessly, especially when your chevrons are kind of small like this. Like you can almost just kind of eyeball where everything goes. But then again, I say that, but then that's usually when I mess up. 3 going back up to the top. Doing the peak, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. I think by the 4th row you might have a groove of this pattern, for right? This particular row anyways. And then skip 2, and we're on the last chevron, I believe, so we're going to do our 3 going back up to the top. And I have a screaming baby. And then we have our peak, so double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. And then we're going to do a double crochet in the next stitch and double crochet 2 together. Now, at this point, we're going to change colors. And actually, I messed up because when you're about to do this last stitch, if you want to change colors without, I mean, you can cut and tie and then just pull up your new color, or before you do your final yarn over to pull through everything, you would pick up your new color. So I'm going to cut color A and grab color B. So grab your new color and do your final pull through with your new color. And then normally when I use a new color and I change that way, I add an extra chain and I cinch it really tight before I proceed. So like this pattern, I say chain 2, turn. I'm kind of technically doing a chain 3 because I do chain 1 and kind of pull it really snug and then do my chain 2. See? Anyway, so chain 2 and turn. Now we're ready to start row 10. And if you think row 10 looks an awful lot like rows 6 to 9, it's because you're right. So we're going to chain 2, which counts as our first stitch, and then double crochet 2 together. And then we're going to work our peak, so double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. And then we're going to do 3 double crochets going down the side. Then we're going to skip 2 and do 3 double crochets going back up. 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to do our peak. Double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Then our 3 down the other side. I'm playing beat the clock with the sun, by the way. Skip 2 and repeat again. It's actually getting kind of late and the sun's not going to be out much longer, and I really prefer the natural lighting as opposed to artificial lighting. So if the lighting suddenly gets really weird and changes, it's because I don't know if I'm going to get to the flower this evening or not. So yeah, you're just repeating row 6 through 9, but in your new color. So 3 down the side, skip 2, 3 back up to the top. And then your double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into the peak, into that chain 1 space there. And then 3 double crochet down the side. Skip 2, 3 back up to the top. Our peak, and then just like before, we're going to end with a double crochet and then double crochet 2 together. So double crochet and then double crochet 2 together. Then we're going to chain 2, turn, and we're going to do our final row, row 11. Should still have 43 stitches, by the way. Row 11, is going to start very similar. Your chain 2 counts as your first stitch, so going into the next 2 stitches, you're going to double crochet 2 together. But now what you're going to do is put 3 double crochets into these peaks here, into these chain 1 spaces. We're just going to put 3 double crochets. So there's 1, 2, 3, all into that one space. Then we're going to double crochet 2 times, not 3 times. So 1, 2. Sorry, that double crochet was kind of ugly. Now we're going to double crochet 2 together twice. So double crochet these 2 together and double crochet the next 2 together. Now we're going to double crochet 2 times, heading back up to the peak. 1, 2. We're going to double crochet 3 times into the peak. 1, 2, 3. We're going to double crochet in the next 2 stitches. 1, 2. And then we're going to double crochet 2 together twice. So here's the first double crochet 2 together. And the second double crochet 2 together. Double crochet 2 times, back up to the peak. And 3 double crochets into that chain 1 space to make the new peak. Double crochet 2 times, 1 in each of the next 2 stitches. And then double crochet 2 together twice. So there's 1 and 2. Now again, double crochet 2 times back up to the peak. 1, 2, 3 times into the peak. 1, 2, 3. Then double crochet 2 times, heading back down towards the valley. 1, 2. And then double crochet 2 together twice. Now again, we're going to double crochet 2 times back up towards the peak. 1, 2. We're going to put 3 double crochets into the peak. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to end the way we always do. We're going to do 1 double crochet and then double crochet 2 together. Just like that. Now, you can cut and tie, or depending on what you want to do for your bonnet ties, you can either do chains coming off each side, or you can just do a ribbon. I like to do ribbon, but I think for this example, I'll just do the chains. So before you cut and tie, if you want to do chains, you can actually just do your first chain. What I like to do when I'm starting a chain for the side is actually, when you join, I usually join with a single crochet. So kind of the equivalent is go into the side of this and do a single crochet. And then chain 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30. That's 30. And 1 extra because I always pull it really tight and then I always feel like it doesn't count. Maybe that's just me. I cut leaving a decent enough tail. That's probably too much. Probably more like that much. And then what I do is untwist it and kind of pull it apart. Because, I don't know, something about it being like frayed and stuff makes it look like it's supposed to be a tail. Instead of trying to like weave it in and make it look blunt, I like to make it a little bit fuzzy and stuff. This is easier when you use a needle, by the way. Just stick a needle in there and just whoop. Anyways, so I like to do that and make the tails like all crimpy. So then for the other side, Same kind of thing. Grab my yarn. I like to make a, what I usually do is make a slip knot where my slip knot has the tail pulling the knot tight. See? And I do that because that way what I can do is join to the other side with a single crochet, chain 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. And then that one extra one, because that totally doesn't count, and I'm weird like that. And pull that tight. But then what I can do is come back to the beginning here, and I can pull that tail snug. See? Kind of cinches it down and makes it less obnoxious. And then I usually tie a knot with it. So what I'll do is take this tail, and this is like one of my favorite ways to finish off ends. One of them. I don't use this exclusively. And especially in this case, I'll bring the tail just in. It doesn't have to go super far in, but like just in a bit. And then what I'll do is I'll push the needle all the way down, which, by the way, you don't need this kind of needle to do it. You can do it with any needle. But I'll take this end and I'll split it in half. Whoop. And then let go and let it kind of uncrimp and stuff. I'll pull it up and grab half of it and pull half of it out. And then I'll fish this tail in to the other side of the stitch somewhere and tie a knot with these tails. You end up with a nice small knot that's hidden away. You can cut these tails pretty short, or you can weave them in, whichever you want to do. And there you go. Now I can finish these two. I always tie these together. Sounds like my toddlers are crying. Probably because it's 8 o'clock at night and they're exhausted. Incoming. What's the matter?
Wouldn't let me.
Wouldn't let you what?
Do something.
Do something? Don't you think that's kind of vague?
No.
Oh. Well, what wouldn't he let you do?
Like, talk to him.
Birch is trying to watch a movie. Why are you trying to talk to Birch when he's watching a movie?
Because
I know you like Birchie, but he wants to watch his movie.
what are you making?
I'm making a baby bonnet. What are you making?
Nothing.
Oh, why not?
Because I wanted to ask you when my birthday's gonna come.
Why?
Because I think it's gonna come tomorrow.
No, your birthday's not tomorrow. It's not even next month. Your birthday still has a ways to go. Why are you in a hurry for your birthday? What you want for your birthday?
Some sprinkles on it.
Some sprinkles on it?
Mm-hmm.
On your birthday?
Mm-hmm.
Just a bowl of sprinkles? You just want me
No.
to hand you a bowl of sprinkles and say happy birthday, Holtwood?
Yeah.
Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I used to eat, when I was a little girl, I used to eat ice cream with an absolute ton of sprinkles. It was like a teensy bit of soft serve ice cream with an absolute ton of sprinkles, and I just ate a whole bunch of nasty sprinkles. Now, for this knot on the end here, what I was...
I'm thirsty.
I'll get you a drink in a minute. What I like to do for this end is kind of like I said with the other one, where what I'll do is I'll fish this in a little bit more and work that tail out. I'll push the needle down, grab the end and split it.
Hook.
You like the crochet hook?
Mm-hmm.
Whoops, I didn't split that evenly. I like to try to make it even.
The scissors look like they're sparkly.
There we go. So split it in half and pull just half of it out.
Scissors look like sparkly.
Fish this underneath the stitch a little ways. Ooh, my husband texted me. I wonder what he said.
thick.
He's on a mission trip.
That's thicker a tweezer.
There we go. Tie a knot, and that won't come undone. And we can trim that relatively short. And the knot is so like small and uninvasive. It's really nice.
Mommy.
So we're gonna trim this.
Shrimp.
You want shrimp?
I want juice.
You want juice?
Yeah.
That's very different than shrimp, son. I can get you some juice. Just give me a minute, okay? I'm gonna unthread this.
I had second dinner.
You want second dinner?
I said that I had second.
You had second dinner?
Yeah, today.
What was your second dinner?
Only shrimp. I like the feathers, but they're kind of sparkly.
They are kind of sparkly, aren't they?
Yeah. I think that sparkly is coming throughout the
There we go.
window.
That's cute.
Or it can be in there or in there.
So now I have to make the flower, and we'll see if I can beat the sun before it goes down. So now we're going to make the flower that goes on the bonnet. You could put a button here and make a flower so it buttons on, or you can finish it like this, and I'll show you how to finish it. But it is kind of nice when you can detach the flower if you want to wash it and you're worried maybe that the, laundering it's going to ruin the flower. You can take the flower off. So start with a slip knot. This is going to be for the cutesy foo-foo-y flower. We're going to chain 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm doing this in the color I want my flower to be. So in this case, I'm using color A, which is my blue. Right? No, it's B. Sorry, color B. This is color A for my hat, and this is color B, and this is, yeah. So whatever, whatever color you want your flower to be. So into the first chain you made, slip stitch to form a ring. So we're just going to slip stitch. Now we have a ring. And then what we're going to do is chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're going to double crochet into this ring. There we go. So you should have something like that. Now we're going to chain 1 turn. And into this big space here, we're going to do a single crochet into that space and a chain 2 picot. Now we're going to do a double crochet into this space and a chain 2 picot. And we're going to do collectively 9 double crochets with a chain 2 picot on top of each one. So this is the second double crochet into this big space here with a chain 2 picot on top. This is the third. A chain 2 picot on top. This is the fourth with a chain 2 picot on top. This is the fifth with a chain 2 picot on top. This is the sixth with a chain 2 picot on top. This is the seventh with a chain 2 picot on top. This is the eighth with a chain 2 picot on top. And this is the ninth with a chain 2 picot on top, which means when you're done you should have 1 single crochet and 9 double crochets, each with a picot on top, so you should have 3, 6, 9, 10 picots all together. Now holding with it smiling at you, cheese, we're going to insert our hook front to back into the top of the single crochet here. So right into that space there. And we're going to slip stitch. Look at that, there's our first petal. Now we're going to chain 1 and turn so we're looking at the back of the flower. It's kind of awkward. And then we're going to start working into this little itty bitty ring that we started with to do our next petal. And we're going to start with a double crochet into that ring, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then double crochet into that ring again. And now you've established the base for your second petal. So now we're going to chain 1 turn, Now, instead of doing it all into this space, because now we have obstructions, we're going to put half of them in the top and half of them in the post. So we're going to start with a single crochet into this space with a chain 2 picot on top. And then we're going to do 4 double crochets into this space as well, each with a chain 2 picot on top. So there's the first one with a chain 2 picot. Here's the second one with a chain 2 picot. Here's the third one with a chain 2 picot. Here's the fourth one with a chain 2 picot. Now we've got 5 more that we need to do, and we're going to put them in this post here. So we're going to do a front post double crochet. So we're going to pick up this post like this, draw up a loop, complete a double crochet, and then do a chain 2 picot. Now what I like to do, because I find it makes it easier to work into this space, is I literally fold the flower so that that double crochet is sort of sticking up. So see, you're working into this first double crochet you made for starting the second petal. And so I just fold everything down and work into this space around this post here. See? So double crochet, chain 2 picot. This is number 2. It's technically a front post double crochet because you're working around that post like this. But I'm just folding it down so it's easier to work. So this is the third one with a chain 2 picot. The fourth one with a chain 2 picot. And the fifth one with the chain 2 picot. And once again, you're going to hold it so it's smiling at you. So let's unfurl it a little bit. See, now it's smiling at you. Jeez. And we're going to go into the top of our single crochet on the other side and just slip stitch. There's our second petal. So now we're going to chain 1 and look on the back side of our work. We're going to kind of shove this petal over out of the way, and we're going to repeat. So we're going to double crochet into this tiny little center ring we started with, chain 3, and double crochet into that ring again. Now we're going to chain 1 turn, and we're going to repeat. So into this space, working around this top here, we're going to do a single crochet and chain 2 picot, and 4 double crochets, each with a chain 2 picot on top. You can also do a chain 3 picot if you want your picot to be a little bumpier looking. I think the 2 is fine. I kind of like the 2. But that's a matter of preference, and you can experiment it with it if you like. But I've done both. I need 1 more up here. Chain 2 picot. Now, again, we're going to now do 5 front post double crochets around this post here. So there's our, see, when we did our turn, this was the first double crochet and then chain 3 double crochet. So that was that first double crochet we did for working this next petal. So we're going to go in like this. But what I do is, again, I fold everything down so that that post stands up on its own like that. And that makes this so much easier. So into that post, we're going to double crochet and do a chain 2 picot. And we're going to do that 5 times all together. Now again, hold it so it's smiling at you. Insert your hook into the top of the first single crochet you made for the petal. And just get caught on every string possible and do a slip stitch. And see, there's your third petal. So we're going to chain 1 and turn so we're looking on the back side again. We can smush our petals over if we have to. They can slide around on this ring. We're going to do this one more time, but then the last petal is going to be just a smidge different. So we're going to double crochet into the ring, chain 3, double crochet into the ring, chain 1, turn, and repeat. We're going to start with a single crochet and chain 2 picot. And then we're going to do 4 double crochets, each with a chain 2 picot on top. And here is 4, and then I'll show you how I fold down that so I can work in that post again. So see, here's our sort of V, and we've worked in there. Now we're going to work in that post, so I'm just going to fold everything down to make this post stand up on its own. And I'm going to work 5 front post double crochets, each with a chain 2 picot on top. Starts to get a little crowded as you make these petals. Hold it so it's smiling at you, reach across to the first single crochet, go under that stitch, slip stitch. See, we've got one more to do. This is a 5-petaled flower. So we're going to chain 1, turn. We're looking at the back side again. So we're going to double crochet into this ring. So there's our double crochet into the starting ring, chain 3. But now instead of doing a double crochet into the ring again, we're actually going to join to the back of this petal so that they're all interconnected. So if you look, here's our picots on the first petal we did. If you start on this left hand side of the back of it and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 picots, one of these 2 posts, doesn't matter which, but one of those 2 posts is where you want to join. So just kind of put your hook around the post and do a slip stitch. Now you're going to chain 1, turn, and we'll be working through this space and through that post. So just like before, single crochet, chain 2 picot, and then we're going to do a double crochet, chain 2 picot 4 times into the top here. And sorry, these wildfires and stuff had the air quality kind of bad and it messed up my voice. Now I'm going to fold everything down to make this post here stand up. Like that, see? And I'm going to work 5 front post double crochets, each with a chain 2 picot on top in there. Now again, hold it so it's smiling at you. Now it's going to be kind of smiling at you kind of funny because it's already joined over here. We're going to go under the first single crochet that we made. Now this is where you have to be a little bit careful with your yarn. Don't accidentally strangle one of your like one of your petals. Make sure your yarn's going between the first and last petal to do your slip stitch front to back. And then I usually do a chain 1, cut, and tie. So tied my knot, and there's the back of our flower, which I'm going to fish this tail in a bit. And cut that short. Trim those tails somewhat short. And now this, if you have a really cute button, like close to a 1/2 inch button, could stretch through that, and you could actually just, all you have to do is sew a button on here and button it on, and it can be any kind of fun button you want it to be. And that's a really fun way to make attaching this really easy and make it really cute. If you don't have a button, then you can just finish the center like this, and I'll show you how to do that. What, baby? You're scared? Yeah. What on earth? I'm going to use a regular tapestry needle for this, though. Let me see what she's scared of. What are you scared of?
I'm scared of the eye.
Of the eye?
Yeah.
What eye? Was it on TV?
Yeah.
Well, then don't look at it. You want to stay in here with me?
Yeah.
Okay. Mommy's going to sew the center on here. And I'm actually going to use the brown just because it's, you know, I already have it. So I'll just finish the center with the brown. So I'm going to...
Mommy, hold it.
You want to hold it?
Yeah.
How about you hold the tulip hook? Because I'm not a fan of it anyways. Hold my tulip hook for me. I know, I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for that comment. So I'm going to grab about 18 inches of whatever color I'm going to use for the center. You like the blue?
I like blue.
I like the blue too, but not so much. Well, I mean, I like the color. I love the color, but it's mostly that it feels nice. Where did I just put my needle? Did you grab my needle or did I smoosh it somewhere? I smooshed it somewhere. You want to crochet?
Yeah.
Okay, well hold on. Let me sew the center. So I'm going to thread my needle and struggle. There it goes. And I'm going to start by just picking a random spot in the middle of the back and kind of go through about right there. The trick with this is, first of all, I like to leave myself a okay amount of tail, and don't pull this too tight. That's the trick. So I'm going to go completely opposite and straight down and pull it so it's loosely in the middle, like just barely, almost not tight enough. And then what I'm going to do, and we'll flip this over so you can see, is I'm just going to go over a little bit from there and come up. So about right there. Come up. Make sure I don't pull too tight. And go straight across to the other side and down. And pull it down in. And then same thing. I'm going to go, this is my working yarn. I'm going to go over just a little bit. But I'm going to try to pierce through this section. Pull it up. And go straight across and down. And I'm just going to keep doing that. And then what you can do is just take your tails. I like to use the extra length. I start by picking where I want my flower to be. So I want my flower to be in the valley. And I like to join it pretty close to the edge. I usually try to aim. I don't really care so much about the angle of the flower because it tends to change anyways. I'm really bad at making it go the way I want it to. I can't hold you yet. Hold on, because I'm running out of sunlight. So I'm actually going to fish the center strings down, straddling. You see the last row of the first color? These last two rows of the first color, I like to straddle the middle with those. So I'll just take this yarn and go down about right there. And what I'll do is I'll grab my crochet hook and go next to that, somewhere around there, about right here, grab the other tail and pull it down in so it's already there. And look at that. Now what you can do is flip this over, and to keep this in place while you sew the rest of the flower down to keep it secure, just tie a knot. Don't lose your tail. Don't over tighten your knot either, because you can tighten the center by accident and you don't want to do that. Don't worry about this tail yet. Grab your yarn, your tapestry needle and your yarn. And then what we're going to do is we're going to secure this down a little bit more, because see, that's really floppy and it can go everywhere. So what I'll do is come up. It goes about right there. I think I'll go this way and just come up right here. And then I'll see what way the flower wants to just kind of naturally lay, which is like this. And I'll see where it comes up. So I'll just grab a chunk of flower on the back side right here through these back stitches. And then go back down to the other side. Then I'm going to come over to where the next petal is. So I'm going to come over to about right here. Hold on, sweetie, I'm almost done. And I'll look at where the petal lays, which is about right here. Grab the back of this petal. And then go back down. Now I'm going to see where the next petal lays, which is about right there. So I'm going to come up. Get out of here. I'm going to come up about right here. I'm not pulling too tight because I don't want to make the whole thing pucker. It's just tight enough. And then I'm going to go through the back side of this flower petal. Yeah, this flower. Of course it's this flower. And then I'm going to look at where the stitch comes up. I'm going to see where it wants to lay. And I'll go back down approximately where I want it to lay, which is right there. And then we're going to come up right here. Grab the back side of this petal. And go back down. Then I've got one more petal to do. So I'm going to come over here, right into, I just basically, I'm looking to see where the flower petal lays, and it's like, okay, it's about right here. So I'm going to go about right there. Don't pull my string. And then I'm going to grab the back of this petal.
That's pretty.
It's pretty?
Yeah, it's pretty.
Well, thank you. And there we go. See, look at that. And now the flower isn't going to wobble or anything. It's not even super tight, but it's on there secured enough. And see, it looks kind of meh, but it works. So then what I'm going to do is kind of work the tail in towards where my other string is. Pull the needle out, and I'm actually going to tie another knot.
Mommy.
But I'm not going to pull it too tight for the first knot, but I will pull it tight for the second knot. And then trim our tails off.
Ow.
Just like that.
Mommy, it hurt.
What hurt? What does it hurt?
It hurt.
Your foot?
Feet.
Your feet?
I do.
Where? Point to your foot where it hurts. Where do you want me to put the goo?
I do.
Where? On the bottom? Does that feel better?
It is peanut butter.
It's peanut butter. So that's all there is to it. But if there is any areas that were confusing to you or you need help with, just comment below and I'll do my best to help you. You can always, if you have pictures and you're like, I'm struggling, this keeps happening, can you help me? And you want to send me pictures, you can always email me at pam@forgoodnesskeepsakes.com and I can take a look and I would love to help you. I would say if you do email me though, sometimes some of the emails get thrown into spam. So comment below and say, hey, I'm sending you an email. I would love to have your help. It just helps me not lose you in spam. I don't usually check my spam box. So I hope you found this not too quick and not too complicated. If you did like this pattern, give this video a thumbs up. Again, if you want to purchase the pattern, it's in my Etsy shop. The printable pattern's there. It's at For Goodness Keepsakes. My Etsy shop has the same name as my YouTube channel. So thank you so much for watching. Truly, it means a lot to me and I hope all of you have a blessed day.